appreciate your time. And I wanted to start by asking you where you are and what you've been doing during this quarantine time. How are you and your families passing the time?
What you been doing, Joe?
Well, I'm very fortunate and very blessed that Mary and I bought a farm up here in Macon County about 21 years ago. And it's way out here on the Kentucky-Tennessee state line. There ain't nobody near this place. I've taken social distancing to a new level. I've come out here and I've been working, changing tires, cutting grass, weed eating, and it feels good to do it like it always does, but there's still this little darkness inside of uncertainty that we just don't know when we're going to get back to singing. And that I'm sure for all of us is a little darkness in our hearts that we just don't have the answer to that right now. I mean, all of our dates have been canceled and are postponed, and now we're sitting around waiting for somebody to say, hey guys, get back out there and start singing again. And being at the farm is great, but that little uncertainty in my heart still kind of hurts a little.
Yeah.
It is crazy. It is what you been doing, Lee?
Well, my wife and I left our home and went to our second residence in Florida. And I figure if I'm going to be quarantined, I'd rather be with a beautiful girl at the beach. So that's where we are. And it's Groundhog Day, every single day. And, we can communicate with our two sons. One's in Fort Worth and one is in Nashville. Even Dalton, who is getting a PhD with cancer research at Vanderbilt, has been furloughed. And he has to work from his home there in Nashville. But, it's like you, Joe. I mean, we're kind of like put all the gears to a halt. But for me, because I'm older, I really have to sing a lot. So I don't know if you got a chance to see that little video I did from our friend's residence here. They had a little spin piano that was just about the same kind I grew up with in our trailer in Sacramento. And it was kind of out of tune, but it was the only way I could do some singing, because I don't have any recording equipment here. I don't have anything, just kind of don't do nothing. And that's the first time since I was 10 years old I've ever been told you can't work. And it's kind of bothering me.
Yeah, I watched that, Lee. That was good, man. I had you tuned in. Mm-hmm. I didn't think it was out of tune too badly. I know one thing, that was a very nice home that you were in, I thought.
Well, it's an older resident. They're people we know for almost 30 years, and we've been having dinner with them every couple nights, just like the 5 of us or 6 of us. They have a daughter, and these people have been our longtime friends. They're originally from Newfoundland, and they have a bed and breakfast in Anna Marie Island, and we just, we're very close. So we don't see anybody. If we go to Publix, it's really interesting. My wife wears the mask and the gloves, and so I guess nobody would recognize her, but she goes into Publix and gets the things she needs, and they bring them out to our car. And I don't even go in because I'm more at risk. And so we're taking it serious, like Joe,
Yeah. Well, you got to take it serious, man. There are people dying all over the world, man, and that's bad. And our economy is totally shut down. I mean, everything is shut down. We don't need to go into it. Everybody's shut down. People are out of work. I've never seen anything like this in my lifetime, and neither have you guys. So this is new to all of us, and I guess we just got to stay strong. And I try to stay as prayerful and optimistic as I can that all of this will work out down the road. And if it doesn't, I guess we've got new lives to live.
That's true. T, what have you and your lovely wife Sheila been doing during the quarantine?
Oh, we just been loving on each other. I'm gonna cut some grass this afternoon. I got a Craftsman 22-inch push mower. That's what I'm gonna be getting a little exercise. Been fired the chainsaw up a couple of times. Just
I have me too.
Planted some grass in the ditch.
I've transplanted some pachysandrias. Never said that before my whole life.
I saw that the other day, Joe. Those are beautiful. Boy, that looks like hard work, though.
Well, she's got a whole big thing of pachysandrias in the front of the yard, and she wanted me to go down and dig a bunch of holes in the lower part of the yard where the deer have eaten away all the azaleas. And I've been transplanting pachysandrias, something I've never done in my whole life. And gee whiz, look at what we're talking about.
Yeah. Those goofy deers have eaten our azaleas down too. They really make me mad.
One time for her birthday.
you know what I did yesterday? I caught a possum in my cage. I've been in my trap. I've been trying to catch those groundhogs, and then I take them like 5 miles away and let them go. But yesterday we took a possum out in the country and let him go. So.
Well, possums aren't too bad, really. Possums are okay. They're pretty good little creatures. It's the raccoons there that don't mess with them raccoons. They'll tear you up, buddy. I caught 2 baby raccoons in a trap, and I brought them out here to the farm. And the guy said, "I'll take them down to the creek and let them out." He let out the 2 baby raccoons, and I had to take him to the hospital. They tore his arm.
Absolutely.
Oh no!
And they were this big.
Oh my goodness! Oh, that's good information to know. I tell you,
yeah, but again, Deborah, look what we're talking about. Pachysandrias, raccoons, possums. How about that new album we're all working on?
Hey,
I am.
Festival we're lucky to be on next week. It's gone.
No.
Oh, by the way, that's a very good point there. I'm doing a Facebook Live Friday. What time is it going to be, Jeremy? I think it's go to T. Graham Brown Facebook and you can look. Yeah, I never thought I would have a virtual tip jar on my website. That's new.
Fun, T. Graham.
Yeah.
Wow. But speaking of making music, are y'all writing anything? As songwriters, have you been inspired to write anything about these circumstances? I mean, this is something, Joe, like you said, none of us have ever been through anything like this in our lifetime. Is it inspiring any creativity?
Well, Deborah, before we left our home, I was in the process of putting together a 20-song original CD for 2020. I'm afraid I may have to add another one and make it 21 songs for 21-21 before we get this done. But we're trying to virtual record where it is possible. May not be the best fidelity. The only thing that won't be getting done is my vocals. But my band is passing around the songs that I've written and a few in the last couple of years. About 8 of them were on previous albums, so I'm re-recording them because now I own the masters. But I'll also add 12 more that probably nobody's ever heard, which is going to give people a little bit more depth about my past and my career, not my sordid past, but my musical past. And so I'm hoping that we can get that out in the fall, if we can get it done in time before the year ends. If not, like I said, I'll put one more song on it and be 21-21. But it's really hard to write when you don't have your head in the music. It's just waiting for things to happen, and I guess we shouldn't think that way.
We can't help it, though, Steve. We can't help it, man. I mean, that's the way I am, too. I thought to myself, I'm off here. I think I'll write a book. But I don't know what the heck to even write about. I started a short story the other day for a police compilation book. I wrote one for them last year, and it came out to be a really good story. Well, I've hit a wall with this one, and I can't even, like Lee said, I just can't get my head into it, man. I'm so worried about us and our people and our band and our crew and our lighting guys and sound guys and drivers. I mean, your heart hurts here because everybody's now, not what they were. And there's a sadness to it all. And I can't totally get through that. And I just lost a little cat. She was 22 years old and she's gone. And I can't stop thinking about her because she's been such a big part of my life. I know it's a cat, but man.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
It's a cat. She was 22 and her last couple of years, I mean, we did all we could. And then she spent her last month in what I call Mary Hospice. She's done it before and she's so good at it. And so I can't stop thinking about this little cat. I can't stop thinking about the Oak Ridge Boys and all of our friends like T. Graham and Lee that are out here right now talking from homes instead of being out on stage singing. It's hard.
It is. I'm so sorry about your cat, Joe. Oh, I mean, I know. I mean, my cat was at my wedding when I got married all those years ago. So I mean, I know how it is. They're family,
Well, they are. They are dogs, cats. I mean, they become a part of what we are, and it's tough. But man, here we are. Like I say, the voice of T. Graham Brown and Lee Greenwood, some of the greatest voices ever to sing a song. The Oak Ridge Boys, legendary music group since the 40s. We don't need to see any of this stop. It needs to go on. And we're doing all we can to make it happen. I know we are, but My gosh, how long? How long? How long?
Yeah.
I think
We
I still
kinda-
think sooner than later.
We
Mhm.
got a pretty good track the other day, Lee, with everybody emailing it in. It sounded pretty good. And then I was able to put vocals on it. So I do have one track.
Yeah, it's going to be
Mhm.
good. And I've heard some of the stuff, they send. It's a lot of that's Pro Tools and digital anyway. I noticed there are 4 states opening up here this week, and that's Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina, and Texas, in a limited way. And that maybe that's the way it should have been to begin with, and that everybody just taking very good care. Somebody suggested to me the other day that we just take care of all the seniors, everybody who's 60, and quarantine them and let the younger people go back to work, or should have keep working, so the economy didn't become a bigger threat than the virus, because that's kind of what's happened now. I noticed that they still are keeping all performance venues closed, however, and our first engagement will probably be the Coca-Cola 600 in Charlotte, with or without an audience, because I'm contracted to sing for the race. I know that the Martinsville race is probably going to take place, and then the Coca-Cola 600. So at least we'll be there and be able to sing, and I can sit and watch the cars go round and round and round. But that may be the first big entertainment venue that opens up, even if it doesn't have an audience.
Wow.
Wow, is right.
Yes. During this time, it's so unsettling and stressful. How is your faith helping you cope with getting through this? Like, is there a particular scripture that you kind of lean on during rough times, or a song that you can use to kind of, boost yourself when you're having a hard day?
Golly,
That's a great point.
I say my prayers every day, and trust in God, never doubt, for surely He will see you out. It's like my granddaddy used to say. George Washington Brown, the greatest guy I ever knew. He was a farmer, and he would just always say, "The Lord will provide." That's what he always said. So that's what I believe too. So I'm hanging in there just like everybody else. Joe was right. Everybody shut down. It's not just us, and not just musicians. I mean, it's this. I was talking to Jimmy Fortune the other day, and we were just saying, he said, we're all in the same boat, and so we are. And the 3 of us, or the 4 of us, actually, Deborah, with you in there, we're way ahead of a lot of people being able to survive. So, I'm glad we're going to do that Facebook Live thing, and that my band guys will be able to get paid their regular band, their regular pay. So we got that tip jar set up so we can, like Joe said, we worried about the band and the people that depend on us all the time.
T, you mentioned Jimmy Fortune. I got a call from Jimmy Fortune the other day, and him and I think we inspired each other. I think I might have inspired him a bit, but he said something to me that was so relevant. And it was just 2 weeks ago in April. He said, "Look at that blue sky. Look at that sun come up. The bluebirds are singing. The flowers are blooming. That all has not changed." And he said, "I think we need to look at that." And I'll tell you what, man, he made me cry. And I always have a great appreciation for the springtime anyway, and I do now, even more so.
God's still on the throne 24/7.
Yeah. The faith is really important here. I was talking to 3 people yesterday, just all over the country, and all 3 of them made reference to Noah and the flood, because if God wants your attention, He will get it. And you can't help but think about this global infection. This isn't about just America, and that's the way we see it as citizens of the United States. But because it's global, you can't help but just say, maybe this is God's way of getting everybody's attention and bringing a lot of people back to faith. Because when there's nothing else to cling to, and you look at the latest stimulus, they said they're going to cough up another $300 billion that will be gone in 48 hours for small businesses. I think another 900 billion, and that's just going to basically, somebody's got to pay that back sooner or later. So this may be 2 or 3 years before we eventually recover. And I'm not saying live venues necessarily, because I'm looking forward to the cruise that all of us are going to be on. And as a very positive note, I think will gear up by the fall. I mean, if you put your finger on the biggest thing looming in the distance, it's the NFL. I mean, it's America's sport now, not necessarily baseball. And when the NFL finally goes back to playing football, everybody's going to want to start going watching the games. And let's hope that things have opened enough that even with social distancing, that would be a problem with an audience. But at least through television, things will begin to, get excited again about sports. And sports is what has lifted us up. Since 9/11, you remember that sports was the event that lifted us back. And we
Yes.
could hug and cry and grief about the loss of those 2,000 people and then the war on terror. But this is different. We're pushed away instead of come together here. So it's going to take a while to get us back. But I think something like the cruise ship, the Holland America cruise with all of us on it, I'm just hopeful that by that time we'll all be able to gather.
Oh, me too. Me too. And I wanted to ask you guys what you're most looking forward to about the next cruise, because y'all are all veterans. You've been on, each of you have been on multiple times. So what is it that you're most looking forward to about getting back on the ship?
I'm looking forward to the fact that there's going to be a cruise.
Yeah.
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 I mean, everything that we do, not that we ever take it for granted. I know these men well. They've been good friends for many years. We don't take a thing for granted, man. I mean, singing our lives, our livelihoods, our God, our precious families. None of us in these squares, including you, Deborah, have ever taken any of that for granted. But there's a new world coming. And I'll tell you, I can't wait till the first time we step on stage. It's going to feel so good. And
oh, yeah, sure.
Yes, and I think looking forward to this cruise, especially what happened to a lot of cruises here in the past year with this virus. It is so refreshing to know that by then this will all be gone away. It'll all be history, and we can get on that cruise and really love on each other and sing our songs, and it's going to be a blessed time of fellowship like no other.
It will. I'm so looking forward to it.
Hey, Deborah, we have the best job in the world. We get to make people happy for a living. And that's what I'm looking forward to. I try to just make people smile. And that's what we're so blessed that's what we do for a living.
We are. I mean, it just, I don't get to do what y'all do. I can't sing or carry a note, but I love getting to write about music. And y'all have given me so much great music to write about over the years. But you're right, T, y'all make people happy. And I think one of the things that this whole quarantine situation has done is maybe people that haven't had time to watch a Facebook Live or haven't pulled out their favorite vinyl in a while. I feel like people are rediscovering music again. Do y'all feel that? Do you hear it from your fans?
Oh, yeah. Well, we stay in close touch. All of us do with our fans. I mean, we do it through Twitter. I do Oak Ridge Boys tweets, and I do my own tweets and read everybody else's. And I'm not a Facebook guy. I don't know. I can only do so much. And Twitter kind of takes up enough time, Yeah. But I've been reading some good books, and I'm just ready to sing, man. I'm ready to get together with my guys and get out there and make some Oak Ridge Boys music. I want to hear Lee Greenwood sing "God Bless the USA," man. I want to hear T. Graham Brown sing "Come Hell or High Water." I want to hear some songs, man. I want to hear some music that ain't just in my earphones. I want to hear it live.
Yep.
I'm getting ready to hear you. I'm getting ready to hear you, Joe, here in a few minutes. I'm going to take the next edition of the Sirius XM Live Wire show, and you and Dwayne are featured interview this time. So,
all right,
I'm gonna get to hear you talk and sing here.
Thank you, T. Hey, Lee, man. You know what I've been doing? I've been singing Broadway. I've been filming myself singing like, when you're a jet all the way from your first cigarette to your last dying day. I've been losing my mind lately.
You're good at it.
That's awesome. But guys, before we wrap up, I wanted to ask you, like, when you look back over the previous cruises, do you have a favorite memory that sticks out? Like either something funny that happened or, just something, a great experience with one of the fans? Because I think our country music cruise community are the best people. I have made lifelong friends on that ship. They're just good folks. So as we wrap up, like, favorite cruise memory.
Yeah, let me tell you one quick one. Me and Johnny Lee and Joe Diffie, bless his soul, and I forget who else was there, but there were 4 of us standing in that back pool section, way back where nobody was, telling the absolute dirtiest jokes you have ever heard in your life. Johnny Lee had me laughing so hard I near passed out. And we looked, and right above us was about 10 fans leaning over the rail and listening to every word.
Busted.
Oh, you know Johnny Lee now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a
Blame
bad
it on
influence,
Johnny.
y'all.
Blame,
He's
blame it on Johnny. That's it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I
He's a
have to.
bad
It was
influence.
Johnny's fault.
It's always his fault.
Oh, Lee, what about you? Favorite cruise memory?
I think, and I've been on several, and of course, I'm praying that the seas will be calm because, I'm the kind of guy that, if they're a little bit rough at all, I get seasick in a minute. So I'm praying that, first of all. But I was on a cruise with Dailey and Vincent, and not too often do I get to see a group up close. And I remember, being on the ship and being able to get into the audience and get up real close and listen to this great group play. As a matter of fact, I saw the Oaks come on a ship. I think you got on a ship. You weren't on the whole cruise. You got on a ship in Fort Lauderdale or Miami, played, and you got back off. Is that right? Yeah, I saw that performance, and that was awesome too. Those are some of my favorite moments to see the other acts play.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. One time, the last cruise Dailey and Vincent were on, Gary and I were sitting behind them when they were watching the Oaks, and they were going nuts. And then it's funny, like a few nights later, Lee, they were at your show again going nuts. They are like the biggest fans. They're just sweet guys.
Well, you get a good taste of the Oak Ridge boys. You want to have more of it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Thank you, brother.
T, what's your favorite cruise memory?
Well, I enjoy the Grand Ole Opry at Sea thing, and Joe was a great host of that.
Thank you.
That's always fun, and it's always packed in that big room, and people just enjoying themselves. Man, the fans really love the cruises and the music, and they make us feel like kings. It's really a fun week.
It sure is. Well, guys, I really appreciate y'all taking time to do this, and I thank God y'all are all safe and healthy, and we'll keep sending prayers up, and hopefully things will get back to normal, and we can be seeing you rocking the stages all over the country sometime soon. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all. It's
God
great
bless
to see all
you
you guys.
God bless you. Take
God
care.
bless all of you, man.
Bye-bye. Bye, y'all.
Bye.